What's up, riders? Old Man Ronin here. Welcome back to the channel. You know, lately I've been getting a ton of questions on Instagram, make sure you follow me there, and on YouTube on what my opinion is of a good beginner bike. You know, I've been riding for several years. Yeah, more than most of you have been alive, probably. But I wanted to give my opinion on what I think is a good beginner bike. In particular, maybe the Royal Enfield Himalayan is a possible starter motorcycle. So what makes a good beginner bike? Let's jump on the Himalayan, go for a little ride, and ask ourselves these questions. Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you need to consider when you're buying your first motorcycle. And that's the cost factor. What the initial cost is, whether it's used or new, how much does it cost for you to maintain the motorcycle and replace parts when things go kaflooey, which they will go kaflooey. You know, I like to term it this way. A lot of people, and this is going to be a little bit more America specific because I know the rest of the world doesn't operate that way, but a lot of times when a person gets their driver's license for a car for the very first time, their parents will give them a hand-me-down style car for their first car. And I think the same is true with a motorcycle, something that is not real expensive, but something that is quality and safe. Now, you can either buy a used motorcycle, and there's plenty of different ones on the market, but you can actually get for a price similar to what a used motorcycle, the Royal Enfield Himalayan. And I think it's a good motorcycle for beginning bikers because it has that low cost aspect. The fact that it's very inexpensive to fuel, it's very inexpensive to maintain, and it's very inexpensive to replace parts if things go kaflooey, like they will. You know, another thing, well, that brings us to number two. The ergonomics, in other words, how the bike feels to you when you sit on it. Is it comfortable? Is the bars the right height? Is the seat the right height? You know, there's a lot of ADV bikes on the market that have a really high seat height, and that's good. I think that's good for people who have a lot of experience. I think if you're just learning how to ride a motorcycle, then that may not be the best thing for you, is to have a motorcycle that has a high seat height. I think a low seat height is a little bit more forgiving for people who are shorter, but also the fact of it is when you're learning how to ride, you want to have a little bit more comfortability and that confidence that comes from being able to get in the saddle without any issue. And the Royal Enfield Himalayan has a lower seat height than most ADV bikes, and I'll put that up in the corner here somewhere. It'll give you an idea how tall the motorcycle is compared to other, you know, not to say compared to other motorcycles because I don't know all the motorcycle heights, but compared to a lot of ADV bikes, it has a very short seat height. And I think that's really important when you're starting to learn how to ride. Another thing is the fact that it has mid controls. And that's not talking about ADV bikes because they pretty much all do, but beginning motorcycles in general really should have mid controls, not your forward controls or your back behind controls like on a sport bike. And the reason I say that is because this is what it's going to give you the most control. You'll be able to grip the tank really good with your legs. You'll be able to swing the bike around and give it its, you know, make it ride to its full potential, particularly when you're first learning. So the ergonomics of the bike, the way that you're sitting in the saddle, the way that you are positioned, you know, comfortably for longer distance rides, and I think it's really important for the beginning rider, and that's something that you should consider. Now, the Himalayan features that. Obviously, it's an ADV style bike, but the fact that it has the mid controls that gives you the ability to grip the tank, the fact that it's ergonomically comfortable for sitting down for people of all different heights. I mean, I'm over 6'2", and this bike is really comfortable for me. I actually have absolutely no issue with the way it handles on long-term rides, and I love that aspect. Even though I have to admit I would prefer a little bit higher seat thickness, so it'll give me a little bit more up in the air. But then again, I'm taller than most people, not all. I mean, I know a lot of guys that are riding them that are 6'5", but the bike does handle really well with how it sits right now. I like to tell people to buy a motorcycle under 600 cc's to start with. You know, Harley had their Street 500, and that was a good little starter bike. There's other motorcycles on the market as well too. The Rebel, you know, the Honda Rebel, the Kawasaki's. They, you know, basically insert your favorite brand here. But I do think that under 600 cc's is going to give you the ability to be a little bit more forgiving. You're not going to get that gigantic whiskey throttle that a lot of people do when they first start out, when they really don't understand or have enough experience on using the throttle in conjunction with the clutch and using the friction zone in the whole 9 yards. So it has a tendency to stall out a lot. You have a tendency to over rev and overpower, and an under a 600 cc motorcycle is really good for the beginning rider. Now I know a lot of guys are going to say, no, I jumped right on a Goldwing and I had no problem, and that's cool. There's exceptions to every rule, but the reality of it is a smaller cc engine for a first bike is really important, because you're going to get the positive control and the confidence that you need as you're learning to ride, which is what this bike is really good at. I mean, like I said, I've been riding for over 40 years, 45 years, almost 50. Oh my God, I'm getting old. Actually, let me think. Yeah, over 50 years I've been riding motorcycles on the road, and some of those weren't legal. But the reality of it is you know, I've got a lot of time, and I still probably have bad what do you call it, habits that I need to fix, and you know, would be more aware of. You're never too old to learn, but what I'm getting at is learn how to ride first, and you know, get the bigger motorcycle later if you want to. If this is going to be a bike that you're going to keep for a long time, there's other attributes we're going to get to in the later in the episode here that we're going to talk about, that's going to give you more freedom and more flexibility. But the power should be lower, so you're learning how to ride. It's like when you learn how to drive, you don't jump into a stock car. Another thing I think is important is the maneuverability of the motorcycle. Lightness is really important when you're a beginning rider. In other words, I don't think a good choice for motorcycles for the beginning rider would be a Road King and or a touring bike like a Honda Goldwing. I think things like that probably would be better in you know, maybe your second or third motorcycle if you're really enjoying yourself. Man, this is pretty out here today. I'm sliding over here a little bit off of the gravel. I want to get a look out here and see what the rest of the world is looking like. In fact, maybe we'll do this. Since we're here, let's turn this camera around and turn it and give you some better view. Remember, we did this before. We're going to turn this around, and let's see. Get down there. Get down there. Nope. Get down there. Super view. No, come on there, video. Now this way you can kind of get a feel for what this road is like with the gravel road. And I think maneuverability is really important for a motorcycle, because the fact that it gives you the ability to throw it around in situations, especially unknown situations. And when you're first riding, there's going to be a lot of stuff that you've never encountered, even in the safety classes as well too, that there may be some things that pop up and you'll go, whoa, I wasn't ready for that. But if you have a light motorcycle that you're able to throw around easier, because it's you know, and the fact that if you drop it you can pick it up, little or no effort whatsoever. I think those are the kind of things that you really need to be aware of, is the fact that these motorcycles have, particularly the Himalayan, I mean, it's 400 some pounds, but it's got the taller stance than a lot of motorcycles do, so it's going to give you the ability to pick it up when you do drop it, if you do drop it, or have the unfortunate aspect of dropping it. And that's going to bring us to a point that we're going to talk a little bit about, not only the fact that it's maneuverable and handling, but the fact that it's a bike that can be used for different situations, and that's the features factor. Now I know the 2021s are coming out with the GPS built in with that little tripper, and I'll put a picture in the corner up there what it's supposed to look like on a Himalayan. I have not had the opportunity to ride one of those, let alone see one. But the idea of the fact that it has some good features coming out, and then the ABS, I know that's kind of important for a lot of people, particularly with new riders. Now I've never had a bike with ABS, so I don't have any experience, but what I was told that's all I can do, what I was told, that it's very forgiving for riders when they have to hit the brakes in a really tough situation and they don't do a low side slide, if you will, a low side slide. And so that in its own right, having features like that, and the Himalayan does have features like that. But I think one of the most important features is what we're going to cut to right now, and that's what's off-road capability. Now we're going to cut to that, and I'll talk a little bit about the off-road stuff that we're doing, but I'll put a little bit of music to it first and let you see what I did here a little bit earlier in the day. It's a little slippery back here, so we're going to take it nice and easy. But I wanted to give you guys an idea of what this bike does off-road. And I hope you enjoy this new kind of camera angle we got going on here too. It's kind of cool. But you know, one of the things I think about a beginner bike is something that can do a lot of different things. And one of these different things is riding in off-road, deer trail, muddy conditions. And you know, if you're beginning to ride, you know, especially a street bike, you may want to still do some off-road type stuff. And what we're doing here with this motorcycle is riding it back in the back on some deer trails that I think you'll find really interesting. And it's able to do it. I'm literally just idling and using my clutch to the friction zone to give me the areas I want to be in. So it's this bike it gives you more than one dimension, which is one of the reasons why I think it makes a good beginner bike as well too. I'm taking you back to one of my secret campsites, and this is what it is. This bike here gives you the ability not only to experience you know, regular roads, but also some off-road stuff as well too. Now this isn't off-road, this is one of our gravel roads we have here in East Central Ohio, but it's something that you may encounter as a beginning biker. In fact, I really think this is an opinion I'm going to give you that's going to be not an addendum, but a major part of choosing a beginning motorcycle. And that is the fact that you can take this bike anywhere. In fact, if you learn how to ride, not only on the road, but also in stuff like this, gravel and dirt roads, you're going to be a better rider in any situation. And you're really not going to be taking another motorcycle off-road like this. Let's say if you buy an 883 Harley, which I love Iron 883, I love the Super Low, I love all of the Sportster models in particular, but as a first bike, you're not really going to have a lot of fun taking it here. And if you do, well, this is nice, if you do buy a motorcycle that gives you the ability to do this, like the Himalayan, you're going to be a better rider on the road because you're going to be able to compensate when things get a little slick. Let's say some black ice. You're riding early in the year or late in the year, and you're encountering a little bit of black ice on the road, or ice on the road, or snow on the road. You're going to be used to doing bad weather stuff with or gravel road stuff with your motorcycle, and so you're going to have that advantage over other people, which I think is really, really important for the beginning biker. And it's going to make you a better biker, and it's going to make you somebody that's going to be able to handle some of the stresses and issues that happen when you meet traffic on the road. In other words, you're back here in the country roads and riding in gravel, then all of a sudden a deer or an antelope jumps out in front of you. You're going to be able to react and do it the right way with a bike that's capable of saving your butt. And a lot of other motorcycles, particularly you know, street style motorcycles, they really don't give you that ability to, you know, ride fast in or ride safe in really slippery conditions. That big 21-inch tire that's on the front of the Himalayan rolls over obstacles really well. And the fact that it's narrow, now you're going to get a little bit of sway like on these rocky roads. It's going to want to go certain places. And again, if you've watched any of my other videos, you know I tell you to let the bike go where it wants to, but gently with your hands remind it where you want it to go, and you'll be a lot better off. Don't oversteer. And learning how to ride any kind of motorcycle is really important that way, is realizing that no matter whether you're on snow, your ice is a different animal altogether, but if you're on snow or gravel, that you're in control. And the more you ride, the more confident you'll become, and it's going to give you the ability to be a better rider when you're on your trip to Sturgis, or you're on your trip to the El Diablo run down in Mexico, or wherever you're going to go. Insert your favorite destination here. But doing these kind of things with a bike that's capable of doing it for a very inexpensive cost, and the fact that it's a really comfortable motorcycle, and it features some of the really cool things, like the newer ones have the ABS. You have basically the little tripper that's coming out for GPS people, that, you know, if you can't afford to have a GPS system on your not on your phone, but on your like a Garmin or things like that. I mean, that's going to give you the ability to have some better features that are not prevalent on other motorcycles, even used ones. And the fact of it is, like I said, it's very maneuverable, it's very light, it's very I mean, it's not light compared to some dirt bikes and stuff, but again, we're talking about a motorcycle that you can ride anywhere. And you know, the whole adage, built for all roads and no roads, really fits this motorcycle better than pretty much any other motorcycle I've ever been on. You know, I've been on some pretty cool dirt bikes and stuff that I'm not going over 45-50 miles an hour on. I mean, if I am, it's really short distances, where this one will cruise at 60 with no issue whatsoever. Which brings us to another point. The Himalayan is a fantastic bike that's going to give you the ability to go anywhere you want to on, you know, on the back roads or the city roads like we're doing right now, or these trails. So not only is it a good first beginning bike for you to try on your road in your city, to do as your everyday driver, to learn and get the good experience under your belt about riding a motorcycle, but once you've mastered some of these basic techniques, you have a bike that you can take here. You can take it camping. You can enjoy your you know, the not only the aspect of any road bike that you can ever encounter, but you have the aspect of riding in dirt and having a good time where everybody else has got their Honda Rebel parked. You know, I hate to say it that way, I'm not picking on a Honda, well, maybe just a little bit, but it gives you the idea that you can literally take it and be multi-dimensional. And I think that's kind of one of the biggest attributes to this motorcycle as a beginning motorcycle, is the fact that you can ride it on the road, in the city, on the country roads, on the highway under 65 miles an hour, but then also take it off-road and have a motorcycle that's going to give you the ability to not only, once you've learned how to ride the proper way, but gives you the ability to take it off-road and expand its well, its usefulness. That's really where you get the most bang for the buck. You're literally getting a bike that gives you pleasure on the road and in the dirt and all year round. So that's one of the reasons why I would think that the Royal Enfield Himalayan is probably, if not the most best suited bike for the beginning rider. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this video today. If you did, make sure you give us a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification button, share and comment. You know, I read all the comments and comment on as many as you possibly can. Until next time, everybody, ride safe and keep her on two wheels, baby.